Everything begins in the mind. The way you see yourself determines the way you walk through life. If you see yourself as weak, you will act weak. If you see yourself as unworthy, you will accept less than you deserve. But the moment you change how you perceive yourself, the world responds accordingly. Life is a mirror reflecting back to you the beliefs you hold deep within. Many people are prisoners of their own self-imposed limitations. They let past failures, doubts, and fears define them. They listen to the voices that say they are not good enough, not talented enough, not smart enough. But those voices are nothing more than illusions, built from past experiences, shaped by fear, reinforced by the opinions of others. They are not real. The truth is, you have always been enough. You have always had the power within you. The only thing standing between you and the life you want is the belief that you are capable of living it. Your mind is the architect of your future. Every great achievement in history started with belief. Every world-changing innovation, every legendary performance, every story of triumph, none of it would have been possible if the people behind them had doubted their potential. The difference between those who achieve greatness and those who stay stuck is not talent, luck, or privilege. It is belief. The belief that they can, the belief that they are worthy, the belief that they are capable of more. Look at any successful person, and you will see someone who once faced the same doubts, fears, and obstacles you do now. The difference is they refuse to let those things dictate their actions. They chose to rewrite the narrative. They chose to see themselves as someone who wins, someone who overcomes, someone who is unstoppable. And because they believed it, they acted on it. They trained harder, worked longer, took risks others were too afraid to take. And in doing so, they turned their vision into reality. The way you see yourself influences every decision you make. If you see yourself as someone who always loses, you won't even try to win. If you see yourself as someone who isn't worthy of success, you will subconsciously sabotage opportunities that come your way. But when you start seeing yourself as strong, as capable, as someone who deserves success, everything changes. You start showing up differently. You take yourself seriously. You take the necessary risks. You bet on yourself instead of holding back. Your life will never rise above the standards you set for yourself. If you think small, you will live small. If you believe you can't, you won't. But if you decide today that you are capable of more, that you are worthy of more, and that you will no longer settle for a life dictated by fear and doubt, the possibilities become endless. You can reprogram your mind. You can rewrite the script. You can train yourself to see yourself as the person you want to become, and in doing so, you will start taking the actions necessary to get there. Your circumstances do not define you. Your past does not define you. The only thing that defines you is what you choose to believe about yourself moving forward. You are not your failures. You are not your mistakes. You are not the opinions of others. You are whatever you decide to be. And when you decide to see yourself as powerful, unstoppable, and worthy of success, the world has no choice but to reflect that belief back to you. You do not need permission to step into your greatness. You do not need approval to pursue the life you want. The only thing you need is to believe that you are capable, to trust that you are enough, to recognize that your thoughts shape your reality, and the moment you change the way you see yourself, everything around you will begin to shift. If you want to change your life, start with your mind. Start by challenging the negative beliefs that hold you back. Start by feeding yourself thoughts that empower you instead of limit you. Start by seeing yourself as someone who wins, someone who overcomes, someone who is destined for more, and then go prove yourself right. Because once you fully believe in yourself, nothing will be able to stop you. Self-doubt is not something you were born with. It was given to you, shaped by the words of others, the experiences you went through, in the moments where fear overpowered courage. But here's the truth. If self-doubt is learned, it can be unlearned. If you have spent years building walls of hesitation, you can spend today tearing them down. The limitations you perceive are not permanent. They are constructs, illusions, reflections of past conditioning. The question is, will you allow them to continue defining you? Every great transformation starts with a decision to challenge the narrative you have been told, a decision to rewrite the story of who you are. You are not made to live in hesitation, to question your worth, or to constantly seek permission. You were made to create, to conquer, to push beyond what you ever thought was possible. The only thing standing in your way is the belief that you are not enough. And that belief is a lie. Think back to when you were a child. Fearless, curious, unafraid to try, to explore, to fail. Somewhere along the way, you were taught that failure is unacceptable, that mistakes define you, that you should shrink yourself to fit into the expectations of others. You absorbed those ideas and they became your truth. But what if you could go back? What if you could see yourself not as someone who doubts, but as someone who dares? Because that person is still in you. It starts with awareness, becoming conscious of the words you tell yourself, the thoughts that run through your mind, the way you react to challenge. When you say, I can't do this, ask yourself, is this true or is this something I've been told? When you say, I'm not good enough, challenge that voice. Who says? Who gets to decide your worth, your ability, your potential? Only you. Rewiring your mind takes repetition. Every time you feel doubt creeping in, replace it with action. Not thoughts, not overanalyzing, action. Because self-doubt feeds on hesitation. It thrives in inaction. The more you sit and question yourself, the stronger it becomes. But the moment you step forward, take a risk, prove to yourself that you are more capable than you believed, doubt loses its grip. Understand that doubt will always try to return. It will whisper to you in moments of uncertainty, in the quiet of the night, in the face of rejection. But you don't have to listen. You can acknowledge it without accepting it. You can feel the fear and move forward anyway. That is how self-doubt is unlearned. Not by eliminating fear, but by refusing to let it control you. Growth happens in discomfort. Confidence is built through experience. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, every time you take on something that scares you, you are rewriting the story. You are proving to yourself that you are stronger than the doubt that tries to hold you back. And over time, those small moments of courage become your new reality. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to believe in what you are capable of. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about returning to the person you were before the world told you otherwise, before doubt, before hesitation, before fear. That person is still inside you. You just have to let them out. So today, start small. Challenge one negative thought. Take one step outside of your comfort zone and watch as the walls of doubt begin to crumble. You were never meant to live in hesitation. You were meant to rise. Your actions will always be a reflection of the identity you claim. If you want to change your life, if you want to reach new heights, if you want to become the person you know you were meant to be, it all starts with aligning your actions with your new identity. You cannot simply think your way into transformation. You must act as the person you envision. Many people believe that change starts with motivation. They wait for inspiration to strike before they take action. But the truth is, change starts with action. You don't wake up one day suddenly feeling different. You wake up, you do things differently, and eventually those actions shape a new reality for you. The way you act, the choices you make, the things you prioritize, these all communicate to the world and to yourself who you are. The problem most people face is they cling to an old identity while trying to create a new reality. They say they want to be successful, but they still act like someone who settles for mediocrity. They say they want to be confident, but they still act in a way that reflects self-doubt. They say they want to be disciplined, but their actions reflect inconsistency. This internal conflict is why so many fail to transform their life. You cannot hold on to an old identity while stepping into a new one. Your actions must align with the person you say you are. If you believe you are disciplined, your actions must show discipline. If you believe you are confident, your actions must reflect confidence. You don't wait to feel like it, you embody it. And over time, that becomes who you are. Think about this. If you were already the person you wanted to be, how would you act? If you were already fit, how would you treat your body? If you were already successful, how would you carry yourself? If you were already confident, how would you approach challenges? The key is to start living as if you are that person now. Not tomorrow, not when things get easier, now. The greatest transformations happen not when we simply change our thoughts, but when we change our behaviors. We stop waiting for the perfect moment and start moving forward as if we are already there. It is action that rewires the mind. It is action that builds confidence. It is action that turns belief into reality. You can sit in a room and tell yourself you are strong, but until you face challenges head on, you won't truly believe it. You can say you are courageous, but until you step into the unknown, that courage remains untested. You can tell yourself you are successful, but if your actions reflect laziness and excuses, your words are meaningless. Your identity is shaped by your habits. If you want to be fit, then the habit of exercising and eating well must become a non-negotiable part of your life. If you want to be successful, then the habit of discipline, hard work, and resilience must be ingrained in your daily routine. If you want to be confident, then the habit of pushing past discomfort must become second nature. The problem isn't that people don't know what to do, it's that they are waiting for permission to be great. They are waiting for external validation, for someone to tell them they are ready. But no one is coming to give you permission. No one is going to knock on your door and say it's time to be the person you were meant to be. That's on you. You decide when you are ready, and the way you show the world you are ready is through your actions. The moment you start living as the person you aspire to be, your world changes. The moment your actions align with your identity, everything begins to shift. You no longer just talk about what you want, you live it. You no longer hope for change, you become the change. This is where transformation happens. Too many people let their old selves dictate their future. They let past failures define them. They let fear keep them small. They let comfort zones trap them. But your past is not your prison unless you allow it to be. The only thing that matters is who you decide to be today, right now. And the only way to prove that decision is through action. Every day, you are either reinforcing an old identity or building a new one. Every action, every choice, every moment, you are proving to yourself who you are. So ask yourself, are your actions aligned with the person you claim to be? If not, what are you waiting for? Because in the end, you do not become what you say you are. You become what you prove you are. Your actions are the proof. Your habits are the evidence. Your results are the reflection. If you want to change your life, change the way you act. Step into the identity you want. Live as if you are already that person, and soon enough, you won't have to pretend. You will have become everything you were meant to be. There is a war waged inside the mind, a battle that dictates your success, your happiness, your confidence. It is the battle between who you are and who you think you should be. The moment you look to your left, to your right, measuring yourself against the next person, you have lost sight of your own path. Comparison is the enemy of growth. It strips you of your uniqueness and replaces it with self-doubt. It blinds you to your own progress and convinces you that you are not enough. But here's the truth. You are not in competition with anyone else. Your only competition is the person you were yesterday. When you were a child, you didn't compare, you created, you explored, you chased curiosity without hesitation. But somewhere along the way, you were taught to measure your worth by how you stack up against others. You were told to rank yourself in a world that glorifies winners and diminishes everyone else. But life is not a race. It is a personal journey. And the second you start competing with others, you lose sight of your own unique path. Success is not about being better than someone else. It is about being better than you were before. But when you allow comparison to take hold, you are no longer playing your game. You are playing someone else's. You scroll through social media, see someone achieving something incredible, and suddenly your own journey feels insignificant. You see someone running faster, climbing higher, earning more, and you start questioning your own worth. But what you don't see is their struggles, their sacrifices, the unseen battles they have fought. You compare their highlight reel to your behind the scenes, and that is a battle you will never win. There is a reason why the greats in any field do not focus on the competition. The most successful, the most fulfilled people are those who put their energy into their own progress. They do not ask, am I better than him? Or am I keeping up with her? They ask, am I better than I was yesterday? Because that is the only metric that matters. You don't grow by chasing someone else's version of success. You grow by chasing your own potential. Imagine planting a seed and then every day digging it up to compare its growth to another plant. That is what comparison does. It disrupts your progress. It pulls you out of your own development and places you in a losing game. Because no matter how much you achieve, there will always be someone ahead of you. But that does not mean you are behind. It simply means you are on your own journey. And that journey is uniquely yours. The danger of comparison is that it forces you to operate from a place of scarcity, as if life is a finite resource, as if someone else's success diminishes your own. But that is a lie. There is room for everyone to win. Just because someone else is thriving does not mean you are failing. Just because they got there first does not mean you won't arrive. Your time will come, but only if you stay in your lane, only if you focus on your own path. So how do you escape the trap of comparison? You turn inward, you shift the focus back to yourself, you set your own goals, define your own version of success, and measure yourself against who you were yesterday. Every day you wake up and ask, how can I be better today? That is the only comparison that matters. And when you do that, something incredible happens. You start to grow, not because you are chasing someone else's journey, but because you are fully committed to your own. You start to build, to create, to progress. You start to unlock a version of yourself that is not distracted by outside noise, but driven by internal purpose. And that is how real success is built, not by looking outward, but by looking within. So today, stop comparing, stop measuring yourself against someone else's life. Your journey is yours alone. Focus on your growth, your progress, your evolution. Because at the end of the day, the only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. That is the true path to greatness. That is the real measure of success. Confidence is not a gift. It is not something handed to you. It is not a stroke of luck, nor is it an innate trait that only a select few possess. Confidence is built. It is forged in the fire of action, in the trenches of failure and persistence. It is a muscle that must be exercised, stretched, and strengthened over time. Too many people wait for permission to feel confident. They believe it will come when they achieve a certain milestone, when they receive validation from others, or when circumstances finally align in their favor. But confidence does not work that way. It does not come knocking on your door uninvited. It is something you create by stepping forward, by daring to try, by proving to yourself over and over again that you are capable. The truth is, confidence is a byproduct of experience. The more you do, the more you believe in your ability to do. The more you challenge yourself, the more you realize you are capable of handling challenges. And it is not about being fearless. It is about being willing to act despite fear. The difference between those who exude confidence and those who shrink back in doubt is not talent, intelligence, or luck. It is their willingness to step into discomfort, to take action before they feel ready, and to keep going even when they fail. Every great achiever started as a beginner. Every expert was once clueless. Every master was once fumbling in the dark, trying to figure things out. Confidence is not about knowing everything from the start. It is about being willing to start without knowing everything. It is about trusting that you will figure things out along the way. If you wait until you feel ready, you will wait forever. Readiness is a myth. The only way to become confident is to take action despite uncertainty. It is to jump before you feel prepared, to speak before your voice is steady, to move forward before the fear subsides. One of the biggest confidence killers is comparison. When you measure yourself against others, you are setting yourself up for failure. You are looking at someone else's highlight reel while judging yourself based on your behind-the-scenes footage. You see their successes, their victories, their moments of triumph, but you do not see the years of struggle, the countless failures, the moments of self-doubt they had to overcome. Confidence is not built by looking outward. It is built by focusing inward. It is built by competing with the only person that matters, your past self. Every day you have one job: to be better than you were yesterday. That is it. That is how confidence grows. Not by trying to outshine others, but by continuously outgrowing yourself. Confidence is built through preparation. It does not mean you will never feel fear, but it does mean that when fear arises, you have something stronger to lean on. Think of an athlete who has trained rigorously for a competition. They still feel nervous before the event, but their confidence comes from knowing they have put in the work. They have trained, they have prepared, they have done everything in their power to be ready. Confidence is the result of effort. If you want to feel confident in anything, whether it is speaking, writing, leading, or performing, you must practice. You must put in the reps. You must immerse yourself in the work. There is no shortcut. Another critical aspect of confidence is learning to detach from the outcome. So many people hesitate to take action because they are afraid of failure. But failure is not the enemy. Inaction is. Failure is feedback. It is information. It is the world telling you what needs improvement. Every setback carries a lesson. Every mistake is an opportunity to grow. The most confident people are not those who never fail. They are those who have failed repeatedly and have used each failure as a stepping stone to success. They understand that their worth is not tied to any single outcome. They do not allow temporary defeats to define them. They keep moving forward, knowing that confidence is not about never falling. It is about always getting back up. Confidence is also built through self-respect. If you constantly break the promises you make to yourself, how can you trust yourself? And if you do not trust yourself, how can you feel confident? Every time you say you will do something and you follow through, you strengthen your confidence. It does not have to be something grand. It can be as simple as setting a small goal and achieving it, waking up early, exercising, reading for 10 minutes, or completing a task you have been avoiding. Each small victory reinforces the belief that you are someone who follows through, someone who is disciplined, someone who can rely on themselves, and that belief is the foundation of confidence. There will be moments when doubt creeps in. There will be days when you question yourself, when you feel like an imposter, when you wonder if you have what it takes. That is normal. Confidence is not the absence of doubt. It is the decision to move forward despite it. It is the ability to acknowledge your fears but refuse to be ruled by them. It is the willingness to step into uncertainty and trust that you will figure things out as you go. Confidence is built, not given. It is earned through action, through persistence, through resilience. It is not something you wait for. It is something you create. It is not something you find. It is something you become. So stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Stop looking for validation. You are capable, you are strong, you have everything you need to build the confidence you desire, but you must take the first step. You must be willing to start before you feel ready. You must embrace the discomfort of growth, and most importantly, you must believe, not in some abstract, hopeful way, but in a real, tangible, actionable way. Because confidence is not about words, it is about action, and the only way to build it is to step forward again and again until one day you look back and realize you became everything you once doubted you could be. There comes a time in life when you realize that the chains holding you back are not made of steel but of stories. Stories you've been telling yourself, stories that others have imposed on you, stories that whisper in the back of your mind every time you dare to dream. These stories come from your past. They are born from the moments when things didn't go as planned, when you stumbled, when you were told you weren't good enough, when life seemed unfair. But here's the truth. Your past is a place of reference, not residence. Your past does not define you unless you allow it to. Every single one of us carries scars from yesterday, but those scars do not dictate tomorrow. You are not your failures. You are not your heartbreaks. You are not the sum of your past mistakes. What matters is not where you have been, but where you are going. The power to redefine yourself is in your hands, and it begins the moment you decide that your past no longer has control over your future. It's easy to let the past consume you. It's easy to replay old tapes in your head, to relive moments where you fell short, where you were rejected, where you felt like you didn't measure up. It's easy to wear those moments like a badge of identity. But the past is nothing more than a lesson, a training ground that prepares you for the greatness ahead. It is not a life sentence. Think about all the people who refuse to let their past define them. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. Steve Jobs was fired from the very company he started. These people had every reason to believe the narrative that their past dictated their future. But they didn't. They rewrote their story, and so can you. You have to stop living in the shadow of what was and step into the light of what could be. The only way to do that is to change the way you see yourself. If you continue to see yourself through the lens of past failures, you will remain stuck in the same cycle. But if you choose to see yourself as capable, as someone who can rise above, then everything changes. Your past is not a prophecy. It is a page that you can turn at any time. One of the greatest traps in life is the belief that because something happened before, it must happen again. Just because you failed in the past does not mean you are destined to fail in the future. Just because you were overlooked once does not mean you will always be overlooked. Your past experiences do not have the authority to dictate your future unless you hand them that power. It's time to reframe your thinking. Instead of seeing your past as a burden, see it as a teacher. Instead of allowing it to limit you, use it to empower you. Every setback taught you something. Every disappointment made you stronger. Every closed door led you to a better opportunity. But none of these things define you. What defines you is the decision you make today. You must decide to release the weight of the past. Let go of the anger, the regret, the shame, and the fear. These things do not serve you. They do not propel you forward. They only hold you back. Imagine trying to run a race while carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks from your past. You will never reach the finish line unless you drop the weight. Forgiveness plays a critical role in moving forward. You must forgive others, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. More importantly, you must forgive yourself. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. Beating yourself up over past mistakes will not change them, but learning from them will change you. You are not your past. You are the choices you make today. And today you have the power to choose growth over stagnation, possibility over limitation, and courage over fear. When you fully embrace this truth, you step into a future that is no longer dictated by what was, but created by what can be. You have a new story to write, and this time, you hold the pen. There is a moment when everything shifts. A moment when the weight of doubt, hesitation, and fear crumbles beneath the strength of certainty. That moment, it is the moment you truly believe in yourself. It is the moment you stop looking for external validation and realize that the only permission you ever needed was your own. It is the moment when the world no longer tells you who you are, but you tell the world who you will become. Belief is not a luxury reserved for the gifted or the fortunate. It is not something that some are born with and others are denied. No, belief is a choice, a decision. It is a relentless, unshakable commitment to the idea that you are capable, that you are enough, and that you can. The moment you believe in yourself, everything changes, because belief is the foundation of all success, all growth, and all transformation. Think about it. Everything you admire, everything that inspires you, every success story you have ever heard has one thing in common: belief. Not luck, not privilege, not even skill, just belief. Because belief is what builds skill. Belief is what turns effort into mastery. Belief is what separates the ones who dream from the ones who achieve. And yet most people spend their lives waiting for a sign, waiting for approval, waiting for the right time. But what they fail to realize is that belief is not given, it is taken. It is claimed. It is something you step into fully and unapologetically. It does not require evidence, only conviction. You do not need to prove yourself to the world before you believe. You need to believe first, and then you will prove it to yourself. So what happens when you believe? Everything. You walk differently, you speak differently, you think differently. You no longer entertain self-doubt or limitation. You stop asking if you are good enough and start proving that you are. You stop hesitating and start taking action. And when you take action, the world shifts to meet you. The opportunities that seem distant come closer. The people who overlooked you start paying attention. The doors that were closed begin to open. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Your belief dictates your reality. It is not the world that is holding you back. It is your perception of yourself. If you see yourself as small, the world will treat you that way. If you see yourself as unworthy, opportunities will slip through your fingers. But the moment you change how you see yourself, the world responds. The moment you believe that you are capable, strong, and deserving, you will move like it. And when you move like it, the world adjusts accordingly. But belief is not just about thinking positively. It is about reinforcing that mindset with action. Because belief without action is just a wish. You cannot simply sit in a room, tell yourself you are great, and expect the world to reward you. You must act, you must show up, you must move, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it is uncertain. Because action strengthens belief. The more you act, the more evidence you gather that you are capable. The more evidence you have, the stronger your belief becomes, and the stronger your belief, the greater your results. This is not about arrogance. This is not about pretending to be something you are not. This is about stepping into the person you are meant to be. The moment you believe in yourself, you no longer seek permission, you no longer fear rejection, and you no longer shrink to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You rise, you claim your space, you own your story. So I ask you, when will you decide? When will you make the choice to step into belief? When will you stop waiting and start becoming? Because the moment you believe in yourself, everything changes. And that moment can be right now.